What I like most about teaching history, I do know that when I'm not teaching history, the times when I get most depressed in the academic year are when the semester finishes, and I've wondered about that. And I think it's something about the combination of the adrenaline buzz and the affirmation of that ongoing, everyday, seeing the students. I don't come out of a traditional history teaching background. I've worked in university higher education for a lot of years, so all of my students were mature students. Most of them came with lots of experience, and I never taught survey history courses in lectures for 300, 400 students. And I guess most of what I've done in teaching history has been teaching students to do and make history. So I've never done courses where you said, this is what you need to know about Australian history or whatever. I've done courses teaching the students, well, how do you do community history, or how do you go out and do oral history work, or stuff like that. And I think that was a lesson I learned from being a history student at Melbourne Uni, where we were told to make history pretty early on. And that was what got me buzzed with history. And there was a session last week when my students in an oral history course had just done their first interview with someone outside the class, and they came back beaming. And it was just an extraordinary, wonderful moment, because they realised both how exciting it was and also how challenging it was. So something at the start of the course, they said, oh, anyone can do an interview, that's fine, I can do that. They realised actually there was a whole heap of stuff they needed to think about and learn and practice to do it, but they also realised that actually it was just extraordinarily exciting and engaging. And I think some of the skills as history teachers are not unlike some of the skills of oral historians, because actually what you're doing is facilitating someone telling you their story, or facilitating a group of students to learn. I think I learned early on, you don't really teach by just trying to fill empty vessels, although your students constantly say, tell us more from your experience and knowledge. But if you just did that, they wouldn't get it. If you do it in a way that connects to something they're just learning from themselves because they're trying it out and doing it, then they hear it. And it's that moment when you get the sense of the students are hearing it and doing it and moving through. I often talk to the students about that Kolb Learning Cycle idea, which they love, because suddenly everything makes sense, which is that notion that when you start off a new learning experience, you start off being unconsciously incompetent. You don't know what you don't know. And then you get to the really scary stage of being consciously incompetent 3 or 4 weeks in, and you're all floundering. Teachers often are, but the students are as well. And they're worried, they're anxious and all the rest. And so you're there to facilitate and guide and care for them through that. And to be confident that you've created a structure for them that they will then gradually become unconsciously competent in stage 3. Where actually they're beginning to get it, but they don't know it. And through the dialogue, you help them begin to see that. And hopefully at the end they're consciously competent and they realise what they've learned. And that's tremendously exciting. That's a real buzz. And actually, I love doing research, and I love doing interviews. I like being in archives. Writing's the most painful thing I do in my life. Teaching is rarely painful. Teaching is just stimulating and wonderful and nerve-wracking, preparing. I've done it for, I suppose, 25 years, and before each course starts, you just have that rumbling in your tummy and you're nervous, because it's a bit like you're only as good as your next interview. You're only as good as your next course. And it can all, no matter how many times you've done it before, it can fall flat because it's a different group of students, you're in a different place. And so it's constant. It keeps you on your toes, because you constantly have to think, for this group of students on this day, what's going to work, and what are the dynamics there, and where are they coming from, and how can I meet with that? So it keeps you on your toes. And yeah, it's the bit of my job I most enjoy.